Thank you, everyone, and thanks for that wonderful introduction, Robin. It was a real honor to hear from Robin this year and last year when she told me that she'd been following the work of cheetah conservation in Botswana for the last 10 years, and it had been sort of a model that had helped her build up spectacled bear conservation in Peru. So I'm really, really humbled that such an incredible project could have evolved from, and we could have helped her to develop the amazing work that she's doing there that you'll hear about soon. So about cheetahs. Cheetahs are one of the world's most threatened large cats today. Their population has halved in just the last few decades. Throughout their range, they are considered to be a threat. Livestock farmers who share the land with them consider them to be a threat to their livestock and their livelihoods. The retaliatory killings that result from this really, really threaten the remaining vulnerable populations. And if we don't address this threat, it may be that we don't have cheetahs in the next sort of 50 years. So we're working really, really hard to make sure that communities value cheetahs. We believe that by partnering with communities and the governments to reduce this great threat of human-wildlife conflict, we can ensure that Botswanas are maintained in Botswana and in Southern Africa and Africa. We hope you'll listen to the presentation today and we'll inspire you, and you'll hear about some of the solutions and the challenges that we experience. And you'll also think about how possibly you can get involved in cheetah conservation in Botswana and our efforts and those of other organizations across Africa. You know, we are all part of the solution, and all of your support and help throughout the sort of 13 years that we've been in operation has really made it possible for us to do the work we do in the field. And together we can make sure that cheetahs remain part of the world's rich tapestry of biodiversity. So thanks so much for coming today. Yeah, so we are working in the beautiful land of Botswana. It's one of the world's last frontiers and great wilderness areas. We focus in the Kalahari region, which is about 2/3 of the land of Botswana. The country is widely becoming known as one of the jewels of Africa. We have a government that's committed to their conservation. We have some of the largest populations of African animals left today, some of the largest populations of lions, elephants, cheetahs, and wild dogs. And we have free-roaming populations of wildlife throughout the country. And we're in a really great position to ensure that African wildlife is conserved for future generations. But of course, there's a lot of challenges. And here is a map, and this kind of shows the global distribution of cheetahs. The yellow is the historic cheetah range, and in 1900, it's estimated there was about 100,000 cheetahs. And in 2000, that had declined to about 10,000 cheetahs, so a 90% loss of cheetahs in 100 years, and that was due to habitat loss, overhunting, and increasing human-wildlife conflict. And here we can really see and the red is really the remaining populations of cheetahs that are really doing well. East African population and the Southern African population are sort of strongest populations we have today, in a few pockets in sort of North Africa. And Botswana's really in the remaining range in Southern Africa is in a really strategic location. We're sort of right in the center, and our population feeds into the other neighboring countries. So, very important source population to be maintained. But the main challenge in Botswana for cheetahs and other carnivores today is this issue of human-carnivore conflict. Most of the human populations in Botswana are livestock farming communities. And along with this, in the 1960s, the European Union supported Botswana to increase their beef industry. So we saw a huge increase in the numbers of cattle. We have about 3 million cattle in the country. And also the delicate semi-arid Kalahari ecosystem, which is a very fragile ecosystem, only used to be utilized for semi-permanent grazing in historical times. So when the rainy season happened, people would bring their livestock in, graze the grasslands, and then in the winter months when there's no surface water, they would move out again, and the landscape had the opportunity to recover. But due to deep borehole technology, they're now able to bring up underground water, and so now we have permanent livestock communities throughout the Kalahari, and we have seen increasing human-wildlife conflict, particularly with cheetahs and other carnivores, over the last 60 years. And cheetahs are really an ideal flagship species for these areas outside protected areas. Cheetahs don't do incredibly well in national parks and reserves. In these areas, we see high numbers of wildlife, and we have a lot of lions and spotted hyenas and stronger carnivores. And they do sort of outcompete the cheetahs. Cheetahs naturally avoid stronger competitors, so they tend to live in low densities where populations of stronger carnivores are higher. So they live in the areas where you don't find so many of the stronger carnivores. And of course, that's where they share the land with people. So really the future of cheetahs, and also wild dogs as well, is totally tied up in how the farming communities interact with them and how they perceive living with these animals. And if we can't find the way to coexist, then we have a really big challenge, because cheetahs need the agricultural areas in Botswana. Being at the top of the food chain, if we can conserve cheetahs, we know that the animals that they depend on and the ecosystem itself is healthy and conserved. And of course, being a beautiful, charismatic species, they can really inspire local populations who need to realize that Botswana is one of the only countries in the world to still have populations of cheetahs and be a haven for these animals. So they can really inspire conservation efforts on a large scale. They're wide-ranging, they're low-density animals. They need large areas to survive that go across multiple land uses and which people are living in. So we need to find ways that people can coexist. They are a beautiful animal, as I'm sure many of you are aware, the fastest land animal on Earth. They are quite a social cat. Many cats are solitary. Cheetahs actually do live in family groups. The mother will have about 3 to 5 cubs, and they'll stay with their mum for up to 2 years, learning all of the essential skills they need to sort of exist in this complex environment. What to eat, who to avoid, which areas to go and find food, etc. So there's a lot to learn from their mothers. And then also the females' ranges will often overlap. So the mothers and the daughters and the sisters will often come together and spend a little bit of time in groups. The cubs will then break off into what we call sibling groups, and the males and the females will stay together for about another 6 months, refining their hunting skills. And then the males will break off from the females. The females will go off to be solitary for a while until they themselves have cubs. And the males will stay together for life in what we call male coalitions. And this gives them the opportunity to hold territories, to have the ability to defend themselves against stronger carnivores, and also to hunt larger prey. So it's a great evolutionary adaptation for a sort of delicate cat to live in these groups to survive. And actually, it was 2 of these brothers that inspired me to start the Cheetah Project, as Robin mentioned. I always was really inspired by the sound of Botswana. I would just hear the word Botswana, and it made me think, wow, this is a wilderness I want to visit. So I was lucky enough to go and work in a reserve in southern Botswana, and one of my jobs was caring for these 2 brothers. And their mother had been killed by a livestock farmer. And I cared for them every day, quickly fell in love with them, started looking around for more cheetah conservation I could get involved with, and of course, there was no project going on. So I thought, well, is this my chance to make a dent in, sort of saving the world? And I got together with a number of groups, and they were all gung-ho about starting off to begin with, and in the end, it ended up being only me. But yeah, I decided to carry on, and I'm really proud to have now a great team who are all working really hard to conserve these beautiful animals. So they were my inspiration. So we've developed a multidisciplinary conservation program. incorporating scientific research to better understand the cheetahs' distribution and numbers and monitor their trends over time, understand the threats to their populations, community outreach to work with the farming communities to ensure that human-wildlife conflict challenges are reduced, and education programs in schools to make sure that there's a feeling of national pride for these beautiful animals and other carnivores and wildlife in Botswana. So the monitoring and research enables us to monitor the trends in Botswana's cheetahs. First of all, it enabled us to find out where are the hotspots where cheetahs live. Which areas should we be focusing on with our programs? And also then looking at where are the hotspots for conflict. We wanted to work in the areas where cheetahs were most under threat. So we found out that the big conflict hotspots were in the Western Kalahari, and that's where we focus a lot of our work. So in the areas that we work in, they're farmland areas. Cheetahs are under conflict, so they're not easy to see. So we can't really follow them and learn a lot about their behavior very easily, so we use a lot of remote methods. One of the methods we utilize is spoor tracking. We have these fantastic sandy roads in the Kalahari region, and every time something crosses the road, they leave an imprint of their tracks, and you can see exactly who's in the area. So it's a really powerful tool. And we partner to do this with the famous Kalahari San Bushmen, who are an incredible indigenous people who have an innate knowledge of the land, and they're able to sort of basically work with us, and we go and drive along the sandy roads of the Kalahari, and we can count the cheetah tracks and the other carnivore tracks along the way, so we're able to monitor the populations of cheetahs in that way and see if the trends, if the populations are going up or down, and that helps us to decide where we're going to do more focused research. And we do the more focused research by utilizing camera traps, a really, really powerful tool. You may go into some of our areas and think, there's no cheetahs here. And you put the camera traps out, and before you know it, you're seeing this incredible myriad of wildlife that's just sort of opening up before your eyes. This is a group of cheetahs that was actually on our farm, a mother and cubs, that we never actually saw. And it was really beautiful to finally, see what was out there. And the camera traps are a really powerful tool. Not only do they help us to count cheetahs and to understand their interactions, but one of the ways we use them is to put them at cheetah marking trees. In the Kalahari, the cheetahs will utilize these spreading acacia trees, and they'll deposit their territorial marks on these trees. And regularly, all the cheetahs in the area will actually visit these trees to see who's around. They can see which females are in the area, which other territorial males are in the area, so they get an incredible amount of information from these trees. And what's been a really effective tool for the farming community is that we've been able to show that if you have a territorial male or a group of territorial males on your land, if you leave that male on your land and you don't remove it, then other male cheetahs won't come in. And one of the mistakes people were making was thinking, oh, we've got cheetahs on our land, let's shoot them, let's trap them, let's remove them. And then that would open up a vacant territory for more cheetahs to move in, and it could actually exacerbate conflict. So by using these marking trees, we've been able to reduce that practice of cheetah removal on farmlands. Also, we collect the scats that cheetahs leave on these trees, and we're able then to analyze them and to find out exactly what the cheetahs in different areas are eating. And it's been really exciting. We've been able to show that in the livestock areas where 60% of the animals that cheetahs could potentially prey on are livestock, only 6% of the diet of those cheetahs in the areas is actually made up of livestock. So they're actually causing a lot less of a problem than people actually perceive. People think these cheetahs are just sitting here eating my livestock. Some of these tools can kind of help to dispel those myths and show that cheetahs actually prefer to eat wild prey, and if you keep healthy populations of wild prey on your land, then your problems will be much reduced. We're also now training a local dog, what we call Solano Dogs, as a scat detection dog, so that this dog can actually go out into the environment and find cheetah scats, and that can be another really useful tool of being able to monitor cheetah numbers, particularly in new areas. And of course, satellite collars are a really important tool that we utilize to find out where cheetahs are going, how big are their home ranges, what kind of land uses are they preferring. As I said, a lot of farmers do perceive that this cheetah is just sitting here on my farm eating my livestock. By utilizing the satellite collars, we've been able to demonstrate that cheetahs have really, really large home ranges. They move on average about 6 miles a day. So if you protect your livestock, don't give the cheetahs an opportunity to get to it, then the cheetah's going to move on because the cheetahs utilize a large range. So it's been a very, very powerful tool. And it's really sort of opened up our understanding of the behaviors of cheetahs on the farmlands of Botswana, which very little was known about in the past. And of course, community outreach is an essential part of what we do. As I was saying, the future of Botswana's cheetahs really does lie in the hands of the farming communities with which they share the land. So we have a fantastic team of community outreach officers. One of them is here today, and he'll be coming up at the end of the presentation to introduce himself. And this is Max, and he is one of the team members that does some of the essential work, going out to communities, increasing their knowledge about carnivore species, and teaching them about different methods that they can utilize to reduce conflict. There's some great methods that have been proven throughout Africa to reduce the conflict between people, cheetahs, and other carnivores, like effective kraal designs, herding strategies, having breeding seasons, using livestock guardian animals such as dogs and donkeys. And all these methods really, really do work to ensure that cheetah conflict can be reduced. So farmers can call us if they're having a problem. If they feel that cheetahs are threatening their livestock, they can call us, and we'll go out and do support visits. We go out and teach people about carnivores. We help them to figure out which animals that they're sharing the land with, and then what kind of livestock management practices they can implement to improve their methods. We also do what we call farmers' mobile workshops. Mobile workshops are where we go around the area, and usually settlements or villages will request us to come to their areas, and we teach the farmers in the area about those really, really effective methods. And we've done about 12 workshops last year, and we taught 500 farmers, and 6 months afterwards, we've gone back to those farmers to find out how they're doing. And 86% of them have improved their management practices and seen a reduction in their losses. So it really does work. And those farmers then teach their neighbors, and the word spreads about how coexistence could be possible. And we have our field center on a sustainably run cattle and small stock farm. And here we can demonstrate all of those different methods. We teach people, we show them how to design a kraal, how to do herding strategies. They talk to our herders, how to place livestock guarding dogs and do breeding seasons. So all of those different techniques can be demonstrated. So this demonstration farm has been really, really powerful. We've got a herd of goats and sheep, and here we have livestock guarding dogs. So we're able to train the farmers how to use this incredible tool. One thing that we've learned is that we can bring puppies, local dogs. This is a Solano dog. They're locally available. They're well adapted to the environment and diseases, etc. Really hardy. We can bring puppies to our farm, place them with our goats and sheep at 8 weeks old, and they learn from our livestock guarding dogs how to be effective guardians. While they're with us, we give them all their vaccinations, sterilizations, and when they're ready, we then place them out with farmers who are experiencing conflict. And this is one of our livestock guarding dog recipients. Actually, in the last 3 years, we've placed 60 livestock guarding dogs. 83% of them have grown up into really effective guardians, and 78% of these 86% of farmers that have been utilizing the tool effectively, they have seen a 78% decrease in losses. And that's amounted to about, on average, $2,000 a year. And while the cost of a livestock guarding dog is about $200 dollars a year. So a really effective tool. And we monitor the dogs. We go back and visit every month for the first 6 months, and then every 3 months for another 2 years to make sure the dogs are being well cared for. And people love their dogs. In fact, this lady, she was keeping livestock in the Kalahari, and because of jackal and cheetah losses, her herd couldn't grow. And after getting a livestock guarding dog, her herd has grown to such an extent she's managed to sell them, and she's actually built a house for her family. And also we have, with the livestock guarding dog recipients, we've developed the Farmers Network. And the Farmers Network, we bring them together on a regular basis so they can share all this knowledge and information with each other. We have them come to the farmers' workshops to teach each other about the successes that they have, so that they can actually be giving all of that information that we've kind of started up, but coming from farmers themselves about the experiences they've been having in reducing conflict. So it's a really great opportunity for us. And we provide ongoing veterinary support for the recipients of livestock guarding dogs, and even those farmers that want to place them themselves will give free vaccinations and sterilizations. And of course, education programs are really essential as well. You know, while working with the adults, the community, we need to ensure that the young people within the community are valuing these animals and realize how special Botswana really is in having free-roaming populations of cheetahs and other carnivores. So we go out to schools and we partner with environmental clubs, and we go to schools and we teach them all about cheetahs and other carnivores. We give out school kits of different resources, teacher training materials, so that they can integrate cheetah conservation into their lesson plans. The lessons can be either in the school, or they may even be under a tree. And then we go back again after 6 months to sort of monitor how people are utilizing the information. And 82% of the schools are still using the school kits. So we're really happy that we're being able to integrate cheetah conservation information into the Botswana curriculum. And we bring schools in the Western Kalahari to our farm, where we do all these sustainable livestock management practices. And we have like 3-day bush camps where they learn all about cheetahs, about carnivores, and about environmental issues and challenges in their areas, so that they can start to become the stewards of their own land and start absorbing these techniques at a young age. We have a swimming pool, which is one of the draw cards for our camp, because many of these young people have never ever been in any water. So we do a lot of fun games and activities to inspire them and make a lasting impression on their lives. And a new program we have started is this after-school program called Coaching for Conservation. We partner with Botswana Predator Conservation Trust with this, and this uses soccer to inspire children to get involved in conservation. So they learn all about the different things about, so they learn about the speed of cheetahs, the teamwork of wild dogs, and different aspects of carnivores through playing soccer. We have competitions in the schools, art competitions, poetry competitions, and we have events to sort of showcase the winners, and that goes on sort of Botswana media. And we do a lot of awareness raising as well. We go to events and cattle auctions, etc., to sort of spread the word for conservation and effective management and coexistence. And we love to be able to give second chances. Through working with the communities, we had a lot of information. These 2 cubs came from a village called Sekutlani. We had done a training workshop for farmers in that area. We'd done bush camps for the kids. A farmer had killed a cheetah. He was going to sell the cheetahs for illegal wildlife trade. And instead, the villagers made sure that the farmer gave them to us. And so we were able to keep them, teach them to learn to hunt, and then release them back into the wild and monitor them over time. So it's really wonderful to be able to be working with the communities to ensure that cheetahs have second chances. And this is one group that this year we had a very busy February. We had 2 farmers in a 2-week period of time call us and say, we have cheetahs, we don't want them, we've caught them, they're in traps. If you don't come and collect them, we're going to kill them. So this was a mother and 3 cubs, and then we also had another coalition of males of 3 males. And we were able to bring them to our center, keep them for some time, make sure that they were doing okay, and then release them up into the Okavango Delta. And this is where they got their second chance at freedom. And this is Max, who's going to talk to you in just a moment. And I'm really happy to report that these cheetahs, we're monitoring them for the next 2 years, and they're doing brilliantly. They're living in the Okavango Delta, and they're doing fantastically well in their new homes. So yeah, cheetahs really are running a race for survival. And we really hope you'll join us in making sure that they win that race. And we have so much to thank all of you for all of the support that you've given us. And we hope you'll continue to support our project. You can learn more about how to support us by visiting our website at cheetahconservationbotswana.org. And I just want to invite our community outreach officer, Pale Sele, also known as Max, to just come up and meet with you. He's the one who's on the ground doing the hard work, talking to the farmers every day and working tirelessly. Thank you so much. Max.
Thank you, Rebecca. I don't know, is there anyone here who wants to come and live for maybe a month with me in Botswana? And then see how we conserve cheetahs in Botswana? Yeah, from here. I'm Pale Maxiele. I'm at Cheetah Conservation Botswana 2008. When I finished school in South Africa, I studied conservation and tourism. And then after, I met Cheetah Conservation Botswana. And then I got this job that sent me to the Kalahari, which is my second home now, because I want to save these cheetahs. I get a bit emotional when I talk about animals, because I've dedicated my life to Botswana wildlife, not only cheetahs. I fell in love with wild animals like at the age of, I think at 10, 11. It happened that one day I was just walking, like I grew up, I was born and raised in this village, where we have like wild animals, elephants, anything that you can think of. And then just this morning I was walking around the village, and then it happened that this impala, a baby impala, I think it was 4 days or 3 days old, and then the mother had put it somewhere, to keep it away from the predators. And then she probably saw me, and then she tried to run away. And then I chased this thing for like 100 meters, and then I grabbed it. And then I remember, walking towards the village, I was like, girl, I'm taking you home. You're not going anywhere. And then just when I was about to reach the village, I was like, what am I going to say to my mom? My mom's going to blame me for bringing this thing here. I remember, letting that thing, to go. I felt bad because, I had taken it for a long distance, and then she probably did not meet the mother after that. I was still a young boy, and then I got admired by this thing, the eyes, how clean it was, and then that's when I fell in love with wild animals. So I'm currently stuck in the Kalahari at the moment, where I'm working with the farmers. And then the reason I'm saying, somebody come and volunteer with CCB and then maybe take my position for a month is, if you look here, when I reached the Kalahari, I had my hair, was all there. I'm losing hair every day because of the farmers who don't want to live with cheetahs. It's a very big challenge, because Our wild animals, they share the land with these beautiful creatures, and then people are greedy, you know. They find animals there, and then they don't want to live with them. Animals cannot speak, and then if you can speak for them, they are all going to be gone. And then we need to stand up, be united, and then talk for the wild animals. We need to stop pushing, stop illegal tricking, because, you know, once we let people get used that, you know, they can make money out of these things, we are killing these things. So we need to be united, stand together as countries, continents, to say, let's save our wild animals. If you don't speak for them, they'll be all wiped out. I was standing here this morning. Every NGO that is coming here, all right, sorry, every presentation, you know, there's an animal suffering in there. And then who's doing this? The communities living in Africa. Some is because they're hungry, but some is because there's an influence coming from outside. And we need to stop that. We need to stop saying, you know, sending somebody to Africa and say, I'll give you 10,000 to kill your wild animal. We have to stop animal suffering. It hurts me when I talk about animals. And then let me just stop here, and then whoever wants to come and talk to me can come to me, and then, yeah. But